Hey everybody, it's Jason back from Turn and Learn. Hey, some winterization tips. Starting to get cold. We have this nasty cold snap here, and we know it's not going to get much better. So a couple of things to prep your bikes for those of you who don't ride during the winter or don't ride as much during the winter. I never say quit riding because everybody goes, "But I ride year round." You know, I do too. That's great. But some things for those cold months, especially if you have a winter like we did last year. Quick little tip. I'm going to flip you around and show some things to do to your bike that I think are really important getting ready for winter. One of the things, we've got this beautiful old 1976 BMW R90-6 800cc. Just brought this back to life for the customer. Carbs, oils, all fluids. She's a gorgeous little piece here. We love seeing this coming through the shop. She's running like a top. But some things you can see on the floor here. We're going to do this the old school way here. You sell him here at the shop. There's you get it in the raw, people, just like we like it. Battery tender. Whenever we put a new battery here in the shop, we like to throw in these pigtails. Okay? Quick, put them in a quick, easy place. You hook a battery tender. Always recommend one that has an auto float on it. Trickle charge. Plug that in during the winter. There's a lot of models. You'll hear there's battery tender brand, the Firepower brand. There's tons of them out there. They're all pretty good products. Now, if you get them at Walmart or Harbor Freight, some things you need to know about some of these battery tenders. People buy the cheapest cheap. You get what you pay for. All of the battery tenders, unless it's a smart auto tending battery tender, you're over $100. Those will automatically reset themselves. These lower end ones or the middle of the road ones, every about 30 days, you want to go out and actually unplug the tender from the wall and from the bike. Let them sit for 3-4 minutes. It resets the inside of them. Then you plug them back in. It'll go through its recycle and say, hey, I need more batteries use, or I'm still charged. Some of those ones from Walmart and Harbor Freight, they get hung up. They stop. And they go, oh, I'm full. I sit full for 2 or 3 days, and they don't reset. So your battery will actually come out, and your battery will be dead. It's a good idea to go out at least once a month, if not every couple of weeks, unplug them from the bike and from the wall. That way it'll reset, replug them in, and let them go again. That'll keep your battery lasting longer. They always say these batteries only last about a year in a motorcycle, an ATV, dirt bike, doesn't matter, because they're not used that much. So this will help prolong them. I've gone up to 4 years on motorcycle batteries by doing this technique, making sure the water level's up if it's not sealed, making sure it's plugged in if it's left in the bike. If you don't have a battery tender or a way to get power to a battery tender, take them out of the bike, bring them inside to a climate controlled, and put a battery tender on them. If you're putting them on a concrete floor, old rule of thumb, put them on a piece of wood or cardboard or something, keep them off that cold concrete. It'll help save the battery a lot longer. The other thing that I recommend doing is putting good fuel in it and doing a good stabilizer in there, in your fuel. That way you can get your fuel to last a little longer. The ethanol in the fuel is horrible stuff. It gels after a while. You've heard this speech many, many times from me, from all these other people. It gets it, and if it's crap. So you really want to put a good stabilizer in there. If you are a person that likes to go out and start your bike up once a month to run it through, you want to make sure you get your bike up to full operating temperature. Drive it around the block. Take it for a 5 or 10 mile run. It needs to get warm. If you're just starting it up, letting it idle for 2 or 3 minutes and shutting it down, you're doing more harm than good. It actually doesn't get warm enough to burn the moisture out of the cylinders. It doesn't get enough moisture to get out of the oil. It actually just warms it up enough to grab the condensation out of the air and leave it in the bike. You want to get it hot. You want to get it, full operating temperature, blow it out. The other thing with idling is you start getting a little carbon buildup inside your cylinders because you're not running it through the higher RPMs. So those are a couple little tricks. The other thing is make sure your tire pressure's up to snuff. And it's not a bad idea when you're checking your battery tender, check your tire pressures too. If you let your tires get too low and they sit low, it actually does sidewall damage, breaks the rubber down because now it's got undue stress by pinching down and giving them they're not manufactured shape. Another quick tip is if you're close to having an oil change done, it's a good idea to get new fresh fluid in there, new oil. And that way you get rid of all those contaminants out of the oil. The bike is happier, it sits healthier. If you've just done an oil change, only a couple hundred miles, up to like 1,500 miles into an oil change, 2,000 miles, you don't have to worry about it quite as much. But by keeping fresh fluid in the crankcase, you're going to save yourself a lot of issues later on down the road. That goes with all your fluids. If you're getting due for a coolant flush, good coolant so it doesn't freeze is another thing. Your brake fluid, if it needs to be flushed every couple of years, that's another good thing. So just a couple little quick tips that was coming to mind as we were getting a couple of these bikes ready for winter for the customers, because they're going to get ready to store them in storage, or they just park them in the back of their garage and leave them. Thought we'd share that with you. If you have any more questions, please feel free to hit us up. Come down to the shop. We sell a lot of this stuff here in the shop that we can help you get a hold of to keep your bike going. The battery tender is a phenomenal, easy thing to put in with the pigtail. That way you can plug in and keep your bike going. So when you want to go out and ride, you just hit that button and roll, because nothing's worse than wanting to go for rides, suit up, and dead battery. That's a bummer. So more tips and tricks, and we'll see y'all later, and speed safely.